So, Mythic Plus is dead. Is it dead? I don't know. I've seen a lot of people talking about Mythic Plus, though. And,
yeah, I find it's weird because I don't give a shit.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Now, the problem is God comps. Anytime a God comp happens, they nerf it. But that has led to a situation happening this time around where there's a God comp, it gets nerfed. There's a new God comp, gets nerfed. So it's this kind of weird thing where, you know, from week to week, you get weaker. Which I think to some people is a bit of a funky Mythic Plus experience.
It's just daft, like. It's so daft. But it's clearly the way they've decided to do things, and I think it's really silly. Because the point of it is you get better every week if you're playing and pushing harder. So nerfing someone is dumb. And the only correct answer is to buff everyone up to that and then do a wipe to reset compared to raid stuff in 10.2.
So
at this point, if you are worried about buffing too many people and it having some impact on raid, the top...
Who gives a shit?
Literally, who gives a shit? It's all made up. Don't try to pretend that there's any integrity in like the leaderboards of your video game when you're doing stuff like this. Just go have fun, free for all.
Well, especially like even if the Nathalris chains thing.
Yeah, like that. Just sorry, we've literally just killed the leaderboard for this entire dungeon, done nothing else about it. You're like, what was the logic behind that change in isolation? Why was the logic not, we will remove that mechanic and make it the way we were, make it the way it's supposed to be? Why is it not just retention tactics is to make the game slower? I don't even know if that's true, because if your retention tactic is to make everyone have a worse experience, then you're a terrible, like,
that's a pretty silly move.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. There's problems that are like, you know, they're a real problem. They need to be solved, right? Like in D4. But solving that problem means nerfing it back to normal. And then that makes everybody unhappy. So it's like, yeah, you got to find the second order solution to the problem. Because if you just whack a mole, well, it turns out that mole is your customer. And they'll be sad because they've been whacked. So to go through things, Guardians, thrash damage reduced 8%, raise 8% reduced. Ogvoker, a bunch of things to basically make him weaker in M+, but, you know, not impact raid too much. Mages, just a whole bunch of your shit, 10% down. Frost, a bunch of things, 6 to 8% down. Holy Paladin, all healing down 5%. I think that kind of made sense, though. But anyway, more and more nerfs. Shadow Priest, you know, as well, similar like Vampiric Touch, damage reduced by 20%. Shadow Word Pain, damage reduced by 15%. Shadowy Apparitions, 15%. Quite a lot. Now, there were buffs to other specs. You know, Epidemic and Bursting Swords damage increased 8 and 12%. For MM, Multi-Shot, Explosive Shot, Trick Shots, all buffed, so you can see these are more AoE-focused things. For Ret, Divine Storm, Wake of Ashes, Consecration, 8, 10, 12% buffs. Again, all AoE stuff. Discipline, Atonement.
Did they not literally just nerf that?
Atonement was like buffed like 10%, right?
Yeah,
so
but did they not nerf that
Atonement
from
now
40
heals,
ages ago?
I think so.
Fuck me. Like.
Yeah, it was 36% of your damage turned into healing. Now it's 40%, which, you know, in terms of the number is kind of small, but that is actually a sizable impact. You know, it's 10% more heals via Atonement, which is certainly nice. I think a little bit more than 10. Whatever. No. Yes. Anyway.
11%.
Yeah, it's like 11 point.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things.
11% rounding enough to be reasonable.
Yeah. Rogues. Outlaws up by 5, auto attack up by 5, warriors, your ravagers are 8%, thunderous roar 8%, and improved whirlwind is another 5%. So, whole bunch of things. Now, to take a look at spec balance across the top 2,000 mythic runs each week, this is Raptor Anchor made this. Look at that, it's already making Matt have feelings. So look at the hero specs.
I'm not looking at the content of the graph. I'm just looking at what the graph roughly looks like, and I'm trying not to die laughing. I'm also trying not to make a reference that shows both my age and places I go online.
So you can see
fans like
week 27. So what happened between week 27 and week 28? That is indeed the question. Look at all those god comps. Yeah. So, by the way, look at that green bar. That's the Ogvoker.
Is it really?
So, whenever you see a lot of people, you know, talking about Mythic Plus balance being ruined, when you see it in a graph like this, it is quite something.
What?
But
Oh, sorry, never mind.
oh, never mind. Oh, you teed me up, and there was
Yeah.
God. Yeah, so basically Ogvoker, Fire Mage, Shadow Priest, Holy Paladin, Guardian Druid, they were all the thing. And like there's always a meta comp. It's just that this meta comp was so much.
Abusively meta. It's really frustrating because it kind of doesn't matter what they do anymore as long as this comp is the best. If they nerf this so it's 0.1% better, people will just stick because it's the characters they have, it's what they're used to, it's what they've learned. So they have to make it worse. They have to fucking kill it.
That's the thing. If they make it perfectly balanced, but there's still not a compelling enough reason. Yeah, it's like all these numbers are inherently sticky.
Right, fuck it. Actually, no. Never mind.
Oh,
fuck
never
it.
mind.
Never mind, fuck it. I just thought about Evo 2023. I don't remember which one wasn't, but I'm fairly sure almost all of the top games were mirror matches. Why do you think that is, Michael? Why do you think
Perfect balance?
the opposite? The reason,
Bullshit.
The reason you have a mirror match is obviously sometimes with like a low
Because
character
both people have the exact same set of tools.
Both people
is sort of what I
pick
mean.
the same character. Why would they do that? Because that character's the best. Because they want to be the best in the world.
Or because they think that they are better at that character than the other person, and
There's some of that.
it'll be some of the mind games of playing against another player.
But it is mostly, I think, Street Fighter 6 wasn't, and it was actually notably so because everyone was expecting JP mirrors the whole way up, and then there wasn't any JP in top 6, despite JP being very strong. And then it turns out Street Fighter 6 is actually a pretty well balanced game. But ultimately, a lot of them were mirror matches, and there's a lot of discussion over this because it was kind of weird. And you're like, why is it? Was it like Fuji mirror and MK people were bored by? There was a Kunimitsu mirror in Tekken. There was a Roa mirror in Melty, which was the sweet seal match was way fucking better. But ultimately, it's about competitiveness and competition and meta. And obviously, the fact that this graph went from whatever it was to this is terrible. But it's like, this is the end game over time anyway. I think. It's kind of weird where you always see some shifting in some direction. Like, look at it up there for healers. Like, obviously DPS is a bit weird where people go flavor them up and all that shit.
Oh, look at the priests.
Yeah.
Look at priest healer. It's a tiny little sliver.
Yeah, but ultimately it's like, oh yeah, that's what it was, Goose. It was also a Zero May Cry in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which was the two Devil May Cry characters, and Zero, of course, Zero from Mega Man. Mega Man, fucking, yeah. So that's the thing is, this is like the end goal of meta anyway, and this is going to happen more and more as you get towards the end of the season, because more people playing are meta oriented than anything else. And it's like, it's the ultimate thing of, I feel like there is a certain point in time we go, how do you avoid this? And the answer is you don't, because players are gravitating toward this within a certain degree of it. Now, obviously, this is a really dumb, insane, stupid thing, right? Where this is clearly way above and beyond, and it should, like, maybe it would have been, if you cut these in like a third off each of these, you're looking okay and film other stuff. But it's like, it's the way the community goes is you're going to get this way. Because people are getting faster and faster and faster at knowing the best comp.
Yeah,
because
like the WoW community
happens,
versus others. Okay, no, because I mean, imagine the League of Legends community, because people are so good at playing different things. That said, in League, so it's a thing about PvP and PvE. In a PvP game, you can counterpick things that are strong. And meta balancing, like, you just have a different set of tools you can do that with. Over here, though, in a PvE game, it's quite different. Right? Because, unless you find the mobs that specifically punish an Ogvoker and tune them up, it's not like the Mythic dungeon gets to counterpick your comp.
It's exactly
they
that.
do have fewer tools, and I guess it means they need to get the balance hammer or the balance mallet out, and they just need to hit things very quickly. But obviously, like, and actually, I think it just reinforces this point. If you scroll on down, you can see some raid numbers that are in our doc. Right, so Mythic Aberrus Warcraft logs, 95th percentile DPS rankings, week of the July 25th, Ogvoker's top. The notable thing here, previously Ogvokers weren't looking as good as they should in Warcraft logs because it wasn't picking up pet damage and some things like that. Now that it is, Big!
And also, that's 95th percentile Mythic.
That's also the best. Yeah, the best players.
I don't think 95th percentile Mythic is that useful as an overall thing.
I do agree.
It's like, actually, sure, we have the power of computer. We can do computer things, can't we? It's time to do computer things.
Yes, it is.
I'm actually okay. I'll not make this visible for 1 second, and then I will do a bit.
Oh, a bit.
Yes.
I'm excited. What's he cooking?
Please be patient. I am in the oven. I'm not in the oven. I'm in the kitchen.
Matt's not quite done yet.
Yes. I need a lot longer.
We need to pop him in the grill to finish him off.
I need a lot longer here. Now, I think this is actually a little bit more appropriate.
Oh, I know what you're going to do. 10th percentile LFR.
That's it, exactly.
God,
So,
I wonder what that looks like.
yeah, so look at this. Where's Ogvoker? Uh-oh.
Dead.
Ogvoker sucks on all percentile
And
heroic.
look.
But Max is up there because people are kind of good.
So the max for
Yep.
Ogvoker, note how it is in fact rank 3.
Yeah.
And
It's
we're
crazy.
looking
Actually,
at
other way.
heroic, all percentiles.
Rank 2, actually.
Oh, rank 2. Okay. So that's the thing. Played well in a team comp that will actually benefit really good from its powers. Because a lot of its things are based in party, right? Are they based in party?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you put them in the party with...
Oh, sorry, no, it's not based on party. It's 4 people around you.
Okay, well, in that case, you know, your team...
With specific targeting. So if you prescience the right players...
You put that to 75th percentile.
Can do. If you prescience the right players...
Cheers, Derek.
You're going to get a lot of stuff. If you... Let me say that properly. If you put prescience on people, Ebon Knight will target them.
It's still pretty low with Arcane Mage. But then I guess if you put that to like 95th or something, then it's going to soar all the way up. Yeah.
Decently, yeah.
So there you go. They do extremely well in the right situation with the right people around them in the hands of very good players.
Yeah.
Other than that, less so. Which of course makes sense. And that's fundamentally going to be the problem for a lot of the more high-end people in the game. Because they're always playing with the people who are the 95th percentile. And that means that for them... okay, do you know what this almost reminds me of? Reinhardt. Because Reinhardt, when you're playing against players who aren't good at Overwatch, Reinhardt mauls them. They just don't... They don't know how to deal with Big Hammer Man. Big Hammer Man, in my face, I squish.
Exactly.
However, very good players in Overwatch 2 turn Reinhardts into, just, you know, the Reinhardt is dominated and cannot do anything without being murdered. It's just like that here.
Yeah, it's the same deal with, and that's the thing where Overwatch is a PvP game. So PvP has natural counters.
I guess things being multiplicative too.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, so all of the inadequacies of your team will be magnified. All the strengths of your team will be magnified, making the performance deltas absolutely humongous, as you see. As you see perfectly when you put that onto all percentiles. I imagine they have some of the highest spreads there.
It actually starts pretty
Interesting.
Which I guess is the baseline of
taking. Okay, it's interesting. The is the top of that 95th?
What?
That end of the candlestick.
It's quartiles.
So so this is upper quartile?
Yeah.
It's like the difference between max and upper quartile is kind of interesting. Anyway,
yeah,
that's fun.
That's clearly outlier. Or close to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it's just, this is a little bit out there, but I don't know if they're really that hyper busted outside of having strong utility as well. It's the same deal with Shadow Priest, where the reason Shadow Priest is
Master Spell is very good.
Not just Master
and
Spell.
And other things.
It's actually not just Master Spell. It's Master Spell and also, yes, it's Mind Soothe and Brackenhide. You soothe and Brackenhide, you can open the cages. Look at that amount of time saving.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And that's just how it goes. There's going to be meta, and the meta is going to get worse over time because less player who don't care meta. I'm not downplaying this, right?
We're doomed to talk about bring the player, not the class. I remember Total Biscuit talking about this in 2007. This
We
is
always
never.
are.
Yeah, this is never going to end.
It's never going to go away because
for
this
as-
is a PvE game.
For as
It's
long
not
as
gonna
they want to have this competitive end game as a true pillar.
Which they always will,
yeah.
because Mythic Plus is never going away, and it's a self-sustaining system, largely speaking, where people are going to do that. Where there's competition, people will compete. That is that's the way there is. There is competition here. Like, there'll always be. People will want to push themselves, and that's fine. But it does naturally devolve to this. Like, even you look at this and look at like the Shadow Priest bar grow and grow and grow and grow and grow here, and that's because people are learning it. And it's just, that's why believe it or not, that's why cyclical balance exists. And that sucks in World of Warcraft, because you have to swap character and swap spec.
Yep.
Which means this is going to...
Instead of just trying to lock a different character in low.
Yeah, like they can do better with their balancing. For sure, because the deltas are insane. But it's still always going to devolve into something like this in a way.
Yeah.
I think there's almost nothing you can really do about that at times. I don't really know I don't know if there's a good answer. It's just, this is natural. This is competition is going to go that way. And it's actually another example of...
Sorry, developers, you live in hell, good luck.
Yeah, basically. It's a hell of your own choosing, because you made it a competitive game. But I think there was a good example of actually a tweet I made today. It was about the IGN video about Baldur's Gate 3, where they're saying, it doesn't matter if developers are scared and panicking that Baldur's Gate 3 might be so good that no one buys their games because they're all shit by comparison. That's something they should... I'm paraphrasing horribly. It's like, what matters is the gamer experience is, I buy a no bullshit game, it's really good, loads of stuff in it, and I love it, and it's great. Game of the generation by some... it's been described by some people. So, yeah, an Exit. I've posted today. What the fuck's that mean? But what I said about that was, because it's about developers, how can they live up to this? And they're worried about standards growing. I'm like, well, in 1968, in the Mexican Summer Olympics, an athlete for the high jump called Dick Fosbury, Richard something Fosbury, I can't remember his middle name. He won the gold medal.
World of Warcraft name, Dick High Jumper.
Yeah, and then that's too long. And then he never won a gold again, but he changed high jump forever, because what he did was this move called the Fosbury flop. And if you've watched any high jump ever, you've seen it. It's where you go head first and then swing yourself up and your legs are angled. And everything before that was running like a scissor jump or a straddle jump, where you kind of jump and straddle a wee bit, but obviously don't touch it. And that was the Fosbury flop was literally better. He literally went, this is the best way to do a jump. And he thought of that because they'd tried different stuff before, but the existing techniques were perfected from before they had deep foam mats where athletes needed to control their fall. The Fosbury flop just lands you on your fucking neck, basically, or your head, or your upper back.
Yeah.
Your upper back's intentional, not your head. But they had deep foam mats, so you could just fucking wing yourself with a bar whatever way, and no matter what way you landed, you were okay.
Yeah.
So he changed the meta of high jump forever, and now everyone does the Fosbury flop.
Yeah, and the only way...
Everybody's flopping all day long.
The only way for the devs to nerf this is change the human neck to be weaker so you die after you do the flop.
They would need to change the rules of the game to change the meta, because the meta has been perfected and now everyone flops. Whoops. No one's allowed to not flop. Basically, everyone has to flop all day long. Fix that camera, you fucking lunatic.
Oh, I can't see where it is. Oh, wait, I can't.
Yeah, the camera has a fucking viewfinder on it. Yeah, so it's that's a natural part of all competition. It's even, I love talking about sports. I don't, for some reason now, but maybe I just like my own voice. No, I fucking hate it. But weight classes are another example of the meta, where, this shit that fighters and bodybuilders put themselves through. Bodybuilders have to get low body fat and be basically salty and gritty and stuff, which is kind of different from the weight class stuff slightly. But for fighters, they have to completely ruin themselves for a tiny, tiny, minuscule advantage. The meta is...
Yeah, you're so ripped, your dick breaks.
The meta is you have so little water in your body, you're probably going to die within 5 minutes. Weigh in, then you're sorted. Because you need to make weigh in. So the more muscle on your body, the better. Even if you have to basically almost kill yourself to like get low enough to get through. Even though it is so like nightmare and awful. And I actually think in most cases it probably puts too much of an impact on the person's actual being, and it's probably not worth it in some cases, because you'd be better spent feeling better and training better and stuff like that liably a lot of time. But it's meta. Meta exists everywhere, and you need to be careful to change the rule to do it. It's like, actually, a perfect example is the weight class things. You know how you fix that? Weigh in before the fight, maybe morning of the fight.
Yeah.
Why did they not do that? Because if someone doesn't pass weigh in, then they have to cancel the fucking fight, and they have to anyway. But if it's day of, it's like we have no time to fix this.
Is it like business?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they get to have their...
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, some of the dysfunctions and how the system can be gamed are then worked back into the system.
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously not the same case here, because there's no incentive for it to be busted as shit. But it's the idea of like meta and solving meta and making it balance is just really fucking hard. And I feel like they need to do a better job, but at the same time, the god comp's gonna be god comp. All you have to do is make it the demigod comp at best. Pray. Meta toxicity is a problem as well. It's always a problem. Just have to introduce enough skill. There you go. Make the game harder, Blizzard. Make the execution of the game way harder so that people play easier specs, because it feels good. But then that's a problem at the higher end of the meta, which trickles down all the time. Because obviously this is fuck this chart. I just realized I wasn't paying attention that well. The top 2,000 M+ runs per week.
Yeah.
Fucking, it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
It does, but like,
it doesn't.
Yeah, I'd love to see the top.
I think it'll be present more here than in Raid.
Yeah.
Because it is stronger in Mythic Plus, and it's 1/5 of your comp.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. But like, man.
And if like M+ is the thing that more people are doing right now versus Raid, which I think would make sense, given how M+ is just more of a sustaining mode. Yeah, I don't know. So it's one of those things. Look, they're sorry, the Blizzard developers, even the ones who don't work in Diablo, do unfortunately live in hell. With that said, something that might actually help us in our journey through hell is I know there's a lot of stuff in that.
Sorry, Dagor.
Yeah. Look at this graph.
See again, we look at the top, the 20 plus, 25 plus, 30 plus. Where's all the? None of them we played before. Well, that's a fucking surprise. Where's the working man's keys?
That's it. Elitist keys.
Exactly.
Speaking of elitists, that's not even fair.